wrestling, it's acting.
Yeah.
Believe me, the moves are real because I've lost the use of a quad muscle after because permanently for the rest of my life because I had an accident. So it's real enough. But when I got up there, everyone, because I was the oldest by far, because the rest were all like 18 or 19, since I was a fool at 38 to think I could start. But we had to cut promos, and they'd come on and they'd get us in front of everybody, and with no preparation at all, and just cut a promo of like, you're the wrestler, you're coming in, this person's the bad guy, and you just cut a promo for like a minute and a half, something like that, and they ended up classing me king of the promos. Because every time, which I was really chuffed at, because every time I came on, I could get whatever character they gave me for the night. It was either a British aristocrat or an American bum, that kind of thing. I could just get on there and just do cut these promos, and I loved it. I think that's what got me the spark of getting back into it again, because I just cut these. I mean, there's a couple of them I had everybody in fits of laughter with. So yeah, that was just sorry, deviating away. But yeah, no, I know.
I loved it. I loved it.
So yeah, but it was great. I mean, it's on YouTube, one of them somewhere, but I'm not. It's a a private.
I'll have to like dig and see if I can find them.
So that's a private one. I only put that up for a select. I was too embarrassed about it. No, it was a good thing. Being nicknamed King of the Promos, I was quite proud of that. And when I used to come back to visit as well, yeah, exactly. When I visited afterwards as well, they used to get me to come and help do the promos sometimes. If they were doing that at the time, just purely because they said, you just knock them off really well.
Nice.
So yeah, That was a nice booster, and as like I said, I think that sparked it back up again. But you're right, it's getting in front of people, and I think the adrenaline takes over, doesn't it? And depends on your personality. You'll either shy away or you'll just open up. And I'm a big mouth and talk a lot.
Don't lie.
Excellent. So right, moving on. Looking, again, you've had you say you're where you are at the moment in LA, but to be fair, over 51 credits to your name listed on IMDb, not to mention all the other pieces of work that you've got. Now that's pretty impressive, I must say. No, you're welcome. Are there any that have really stuck out in particular? This is your chance to sell your your back catalogue. What's really stuck out for you? What kind of films or in the shorts have stuck out in your memory? That's been the most favourite.
Gosh, that's really hard. I love doing the film on their safe landings.
Mm-hmm.
That one was really cool. That one is actually a porn film.
Okay.
Porn feature.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a non-sex role in
right.
that. And what a non-sex role is it's basically like you just go on there and you just act.
Yeah.
You're not having sex, you're not naked, whatever.
Yeah.
I've actually done a lot of non-sex roles in quite a few porn films now.
Okay.
And I've worked with that director and writer, Kay Brandt, a couple of times now, and I just got the last thing that I did for her, I got nominated for an XBiz award for Best Non-Sex Role Performer. But that one was really fun just because the script was so amazing. And it's like I read the script and I was like, I would be a fool not to do it.
Yeah.
But it was funny the way that I got that is the character that I played a therapist in it. And the therapist was actually written for like a, 45, 50-year-old woman.
Right.
So, it would be someone like, like a Nina Hartley or a Jenna Jameson or a Tracy Lords, someone who, older but could kind of bring that, or Georgina Spelvin, who they bring the name, maybe they don't do the sex anymore. Maybe they don't do, all of that. So Kay had called me in and was like, oh, I have this non-sex role, but it's for a woman, whatever. And I was like, well, it could be a good opportunity to go in, audition for her, and let her know that I'm out there. So I went in and I did my thing. I made my choices. And she called me up and she's like, oh, I'm casting you in it because you brought a lot of sensitivity and subtleness that, no one else brought to it. And I remember just like crying because I worked so hard on this audition because I loved the script so much.
Yeah.
And just, that's it's like a 3.5-hour movie,
Good
but
God.
we filmed it in 2 days.
Wow.
And the quality of it is so beautiful and so amazing. Like I showed the trailer to my mom.
Right.
My mom was just like amazed by the quality. She was like, "This was shot over 2 days," and I was like, "Yeah." Plus, it was like a character that like I don't go out for in mainstream Hollywood, and that's one reason why I do continue to do the non-sex roles in porn, because I play these characters that mainstream Hollywood doesn't look at me as these types of characters yet.
Yeah.
So it's able to be like, look, I can do that. So Safe Landings was really cool because it really kind of cemented my relationship with Kay, and she's become a really good friend, and I love her to death.
That's pretty cool.
Another one on there that's really special to me is when I did the episode of Children's Hospital. Because that got me my after card, and that got me into the union, and that was like the first big professional TV show that I did, and I was like, wow, like I'm, on the show that's on Comedy Central, that's, won Emmys, Megan Mullally's on it, like, I have lines on it, I get to be in the union, I get to, like, get residuals, like, I felt like a real actor. I was like, wow, this is really cool.
Awesome.
The Thing. I did voiceover. It's a video game based on the John Carpenter movie. The creator and the director, he's in England too. I do a lot of stuff in England. It's so funny, you Brits. But that was really cool because that was my first video game that I did.
Okay, how did you find that? How did it? So I was going to say, how did you actually find that being a video game and obviously different from on screen? How did you find that one?
Well, I've always wanted to do voiceover, and I'm doing a lot more VO, and really kind of focusing on that. That's like my true passion is voice acting. What I've always wanted to do, and. A friend of mine, Christy Shin, who's an amazing artist, knew that I wanted to do VO, and this was a time when I was really kind of starting to focus on it. And she had a friend in England, Richard Smith, who did The Thing, and he was looking for voice actors for some minor roles. Yeah. And she passed on, my info to him, and he got in touch with me, and I auditioned for him, and he liked me. And at first... when it was first released, I think I did like 6 or 7 voices for him. And then he updated it. He released like an expansion pack or whatever. And he called me and he was like, "Oh, could you do 4 more voices for me?" So I ended up doing like 11 voices in my first video game, which was amazing. I was like, wow. So it was something like I could use to like video game companies and be like, "Oh, look, like, all of you U.S. gaming companies, like Joe does international video games. Joe did 11 voices in his first video." So it was something that I was able to kind of make myself bigger than I truly am. But it was just, it was a fun little game. It's an RPG game. I don't play a lot of video games, but I saw the playthrough on like YouTube, and it turned out really, really well. And yeah, it was just fun to do because I was like, wow, I'm doing a video game. Like, I'm on a path to like something that I want to do. And it's actually helped me get some other video game work. I'm in the middle of working on another video game, which unfortunately I can't talk about because of NDA. Yeah. That's international too. That company's in Poland.
All right, okay.
Yeah, that's been really fun.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And just another one it's not a movie or anything I did, but it's a production that I did that Gloria directed, a production of Much Ado About Nothing.
Oh,
We actually just did that.
Yeah.
This summer. And that one was really special because that was the first time for me doing like Shakespeare.
Okay.
And I was terrified throughout this whole thing. I was like, oh my God, like I'm doing Shakespeare. And I went in I wanted to just do like one of the little bitty parts that had like one line.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, just let me do that, Gloria. Go in, do one line, and then and she's like, no, you're going to be Friar Francis. And he had like these big monologues and shit. I was like, I was so scared. But she knew I could do it, and she knew I needed to do it to get out of my comfort zone. You know, and doing that production really did help me become stronger and get more confidence in myself.
Excellent. I mean, it's a cracking play as well. Much Ado About Nothing. You got to love Shakespeare.
Yeah.
Well, being a Brit, you know, you're kind of raised on it.
Right? I can only imagine.
Yeah, it's it's one of those things throughout school you just get dragged, and you know, I'll say you start getting dragged. I took an interest because obviously that's what I was interested in, and but most people just get it's Shakespeare this, Shakespeare that, everywhere you go. I did Macbeth when I was in sixth form. Yeah, I was actually my A-level, my exam, which is over here we have something called A-levels. So when you're 18, you take a higher education exam before you go into university, and so that's what we did. And I was actually Macbeth at the time, so we had a sword fight. We just didn't do the whole play. We just did snips from it, as part of the examination work. So I did a few sword fights in there. And while I was at university, I actually took part in the dramatic society at university with the students, and I was about 6 or 7 minor characters. And it's one of the funniest moments ever. It was great. I mean, there's 2 moments in there which are hilarious because we did it for local schools, and I was the night watchman in one of them. And obviously, you know, he's a bit of a comic relief anyway. But I was sat on stage in this long nightgown, and obviously underneath, because to keep it realistic, underneath I just had my boxer shorts on, and I was sat on the edge of the stage. Totally didn't realise that. Obviously, I'm not used to wearing nightgowns, so I was sat there with my legs open, giving my soliloquy, and all these kids and school kids, and 14, 15, 16-year-olds, all giggling away. And I suddenly dawned on me, it's because they could see right up this night skirt.
Oh my god, that's funny.
And I didn't find that out till afterwards, thankfully. But then later on in the play, I was one of the lords talking, and we were doing it very much. We walked out into the audience, so we were very much part. As the lords, we stood amongst the audience, like in the round type thing. And we had proper smoking pipes, weren't smoking them, but I had tobacco in. I bit on the pipe, and the tobacco just flew out the end of the pipe and landed right on the floor, right in one of these really big, the very serious soliloquies about how, how Macbeth is doing and how we think he's, because turning and all this kind of thing. And all you could see, I had tears streaming down my face, but I still delivered my parts of the speech, and the other guys, to their credit, did as well. But obviously all the kids around had seen it, and they were in stitches laughing as well. And it was it was great. It was a highly serious play, but we that's the fond memory I have. And then a pantomime dame about a year later I did as well, and that was probably the best I've ever done.
Nice.
Yeah, panto dames, can't beat them. I did see something else on your profile as well, and that intrigued me purely because of my interest in the era. There's a short you did called "The Saint of Auschwitz."
Yeah.
Back in 2014. What was that one about? Obviously, I can gather from the title, but
yeah, that was actually about I think he was a priest in Auschwitz who he kind of sacrificed himself to save like a life.
Okay. I think I know that story.
Got a book on him. I can't think of his name, and I just got a book, and of course, I love books. I'm a book hoarder, so it's like I don't even know where the damn book is. I can't even pull it out and be like, oh, his name was this. But yeah, it was a little short about his life and his time in Auschwitz and what he did and how he saved some of the prisoners at the cost of his own life, and that's why he is called
the Saint of Auschwitz.
The Saint of Auschwitz, and it's going to bug me because I can't remember his...
Maximilian Kolbe.
That's it.
I've got a Google in front of me.
That's it.
Yeah. I've actually heard his story before. It was great.
In California.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, there's a place up near Bakersfield, very
Mm-hmm.
small town, and it's got like this old war camp, and I think it might have been used in the Civil War.